Australian property whisperer Warren Ebert is with us today to talk a little bit about REITs and how his company, Sentinel, has been doing such a great job at that. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Matt.
So tell us a little bit about why chicken farms are more interesting than retail space at the moment.
It's not that chicken farms are more interesting, it's just that making money is interesting. And we will buy any property at a price, and we like to get into sectors that others aren't into. And I knew nothing about the chicken farm when it was first presented to us, but once you do a bit of research, you find out that Australia produces only 2% of the world's chicken meat. We're the only continent in the world that doesn't have bird flu. A couple of pretty positive points. Very limited as to where the chickens can go, because they can only be half an hour from abattoir because they stress. Cattle can be transported many hundreds of kilometres, and it's very hard getting appropriate zonings. So when you put them all together, you find out that the tenant is very sticky. The tenant we've got in this will be there for at least another 11 years. They're the largest chicken meat producer in Australia. Chicken protein is the most efficient and cheapest protein that you can get. To get 1 kilogram of beef, you need 6 to 8 kilograms of grain. With chicken meat on our farm, it's 1.68 kilograms of grain to 1 kilogram of protein. So few of the things, Matt, but I could go on further.
But this just kind of shows your type of thinking, where most other REITs would focus on the stereotypical safe bets. You do a little bit more digging and go for the kind of alternatives. Talk a little bit about that strategy.
Matt, most REITs will have what you call a mandate, so that will be a sector that they target, whether it's industrial, shopping centre, CBD offices. We're always out there looking for the opportunities, and we have our investor meetings twice a year in Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane. And when people ask us, well, what are you going to buy? Well, we will buy what the others are selling. And they said, but you must know what you're going to buy. So you ask the institutions what they're selling, and then that's what we're buying. We don't buy in sectors where there's competition. We buy in areas that people don't like. And you can go to the auctions here in Cape Town on Saturday, and you would buy every property that's put up for sale if you pay more than everyone else. We don't like to do that. We like to look for value.
It sounds like you are digging a lot deeper. Is this quite unique in the industry?
We've been the number one unlisted REIT manager in Australia for 43 of the last 50 months. And one of my favourite sayings is, it is more acceptable to fail conventionally than it is to succeed unconventionally. So if you're doing what everyone else does and the market goes bad, it's never their fault. It'll be the government, it'll be the banks, it'll be someone else's. It'll never be that they paid too much. When you're the person doing it different, you're the odd one out, you're the one that they'll target and ridicule, and we're fine with that because we make money. You know, in the Morgan Stanley Capital Index, which is for the unlisted funds in Australia, last month we had 10 of the top 10 performing funds in Australia. The 2 months before that we had 10 of the top 10. So our results speak for themselves, and we'll keep on doing it a different way.
And an important question, why are you called the Property Whisperer, and who gave you this awesome title?
One of my staff members did one day. It was around the time when they had the Horse Whisperer.
Yeah.
So we just cut the photo out and put it up on the wall with my face in there, and it became the Property Whisperer. So as with most things, there's something simple behind it. And I suppose they said it because I look at properties differently. You know, other assets the big institutions are selling, we buy and do very well with them. So I suppose the Horse Whisperer, he would take over horses that didn't work out for others, and he would turn them into successful horses. Well, we do that with properties.
Have you looked at the South African REIT market? Are we lazy investors in this country?
You're very good rugby players. I know that, and at the moment, very good cricket players. I couldn't comment on the property side. We stay very focused on the Australian market, and that's been very, very good for us. But certainly we see a lot of South African investors in Australia, and we know that they're very astute. But from what we see, there's a lot of South African people who are trying to diversify and move their money offshore a little bit. So we'll stay focused on our area, and that's what people have come to us, because we know the Australian market. We don't try to be experts in all areas.